All right, my secondary math 2 class, we are going to be continuing to talk about transversals. Today, we're actually going to be trying to solve for x. So just solving equations within transversals. Okay, so let's go ahead and remind ourselves, what is a transversal? Okay, well, we have two parallel lines that you're going to see. Okay, the line that cuts between them, that guy right there, that is the transversal. Okay, so there's a few different relationships that we've talked about. Okay, we've talked about corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or consecutive interior slash exterior. Okay, we've also talked about, I'm going to add these to the list, vertical and adjacent relationships. Okay, so on numbers 1 and 2, it's simply asking us to identify the relationship. So let's look at number 1. So first thing I see is that x is on the right side of my transversal and y is on the left. Okay, so that tells me alternate because they're on different sides of the transversal. Okay, well, we either have alternate interior or alternate exterior. So then we ask ourselves, are they on the outside of our parallel lines or the inside? Okay, well, we see that they're on the outside, so that tells us alternate exterior. Okay, and that's it. Okay, number 2. So first thing I see is that both x and y are on the left side of my transversal. So that means the same side. Okay, and because they're on the same side and they're both on the inside, okay, that tells us consecutive interior. Because remember, corresponding can be on the same side, but that means one is outside and one is inside. So since they're both inside, that tells us consecutive or the same side and interior. And there we go. Okay, now let's label what these angles are actually equal to, just to remind ourselves. Okay, alternate exterior angles are equal to each other. Okay, so angles equal each other. Okay, number 2, consecutive interior angles. These guys, we see that one is an obtuse angle, a big angle, and one is an acute angle. So we know that these angles equal 180 degrees. Beautiful. Okay, now let's look at 3 and 4. So 3 and 4, we are asked to find the measure of the angle indicated, or the missing angle. Okay, so in number 3, I see that it gives me 116 and then this question mark, which I'm just going to label as x. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is identify the relationship. Okay, so again, I see that they're on different sides of my transversal, so that tells me alternate. And they're on the outsides of my parallel line, so that tells me exterior, alternate exterior. Okay, well, let's look up, what are they equal to? They're equal to each other. Okay, so we know that if that angle is 116, we know that our x is also 116 degrees. So we know that this guy is 116 degrees. And there we go. Okay, number 4. I have both on the same side as my transversal, but I see that one is on the inside and one is on the outside. So remember, that can't be consecutive interior or exterior. So this guy is actually corresponding. Okay, and corresponding angles equal what? These angles also equal each other. Okay, well, if they equal each other and that guy's 110, what must our missing angle be? Which again, I'm going to label it as x because we like x in math. Okay, if that guy's 110, we know that x is also 110 degrees. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and now solve for x's inside of transversals. Okay, so it's asking us to solve for x. So I see that my x is right here in this equation right here. So let's go ahead. First step is always to identify the relationship. Okay, so I see that they're on the same side of my transversal. They're both on the left, and then they're both on the inside. Okay, so same side is consecutive, inside, interior. Okay, and what did they equal? Okay, well, let's back up here. They equal 180. So we know that if we take this angle, 64, and add it to that angle, 20x minus 4, they equal 180. So let's go ahead and write that out. 64 plus our other angle, 20x minus 4, is going to equal 180 degrees. Okay, well now we can go ahead and solve for x. So before we do anything, we move anything to the other side, we have to combine like terms. So what are my terms that I can combine? I have 64 and minus 4. Okay, well 64 minus 4 is going to give me 60. The 20x I couldn't combine with anything, so it stays 20x, and it's equal to 180. Okay, next step. Now I can start moving things. I can start getting rid of things on the same side of my x so that my x can be by itself. I need to get rid of this positive 60 first. What is the opposite of positive 60? Negative 60. So we're going to subtract 60 from both sides. So I get 20x left over equals 180 minus 60 is 120. Okay, now my very last step. What is the opposite of times by 20? We are going to divide by 20. So I get x is equal to 120 divided by 20 is 60. Nope, 6. Not 60, 6. All right, so we have x equals 6. Okay, and that's it. We solve for x. Okay, let's look at number 6. Let's identify the relationship. So I see that they're on the same side, but one is on the inside and one is on the outside. So that tells us corresponding. Okay, well, corresponding angles, just look up. They equal each other. So we are going to actually set these angles equal to each other to solve. So I have x plus 121 equals 115. Beautiful. Now this one's pretty easy because there's only one thing I got to get rid of to get x by itself. What is the opposite of plus 121? We're going to subtract 121. So my x is going to be all by itself. What is 115 minus 121? We get negative 6. And there we go. We solved for x. Okay, let's look at 7. Okay, let's identify this relationship. So this one's kind of different. So we see that they're right next to each other. Now let's look back up here because we haven't found this one yet. What is the word that means right next to? Adjacent, okay? And adjacent angles, so we know that these are adjacent angles. And we know that adjacent angles equal, so angles equal 180 because they create that straight line, which we know a straight line is 180 degrees. Okay, so same thing. We're going to add these two angles together and set them equal to 180. Okay, so I have x plus 82 plus my other angle, x plus 102, and it equals 180. Okay, before we start moving things, we need to combine like terms. What are my like terms that I can combine? I have a couple x's that I can combine together. So 1x plus 1x equals 2x. And then I have 82 plus 102 that I can combine together. So let's go ahead and add that. And that gives me 184. and equals 180. Okay, now I can start solving. I can start getting rid of things. 2 is closest, so we need to get rid of 184. What is the opposite of plus 184? We're going to subtract 184. So 2x is left over, equals 180 minus 184, it's -4. Okay, and my last step for getting x by itself, what is the opposite of times by 2? Going to divide by 2. So we get x is equal to -4 divided by a +2 is going to give me a -2. And there we go. Okay, last example. Let's identify the relationship. So I see that they're on different sides of my transversal, and they're both on the outside of the parallel lines. So different sides tells me alternate. Outside of the parallel lines tells me exterior. So alternate, exterior. Okay, what are these angles equal to? They equal each other. Okay, so we're going to set both of these angles equal to each other in order to solve. So we have 17x plus 8 equals 110, and we are going to set it equal to each other to solve. Okay, so there's a few things I have to get rid of. Okay, so the first thing I need to get rid of is this +8. How do I get rid of +8? We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So I get 17x is left over. 110 minus 8 is going to give me 102. Okay? My last step to get x by itself is to do the opposite of times by 17. What is the opposite of times by 17? We're going to divide by 17. Okay, so my x is going to be all by itself. What is 102 divided by 17? We get x equals 6. And there we go. We solved for x in our transversals. Okay, those are your notes for today. You have an assignment that goes with it.